Mothupelts is rating the trash with a party of 10. Chaoslot is rating the trash with a party of 5.
Hi, sorry, that is a lot of messages, just right after I started. Wait. There were 2 raids? One by one? Oh, Moa 2 Pelt just raided with 2 viewers. Oh, thank you for the raid, Moa. You were playing Day by Daylight. That I know of that game. I just I feel like I would tackle it. And Cows love raided with 5 viewers. Also playing Day by Daylight. Were you playing together? Hello, Forny, Miki, Moa, la 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 la. Thank you for the follow, Nell Void. We escaped the basement. Were you trapped in the basement in Dead by Daylight? Thanks for the follow, Corgi. No. We are good, just did some Dead by Daylight together. Phantom of the Opera team it was. Oh, that sounds interesting. I never actually watched that movie, but it sounds interesting, doesn't it? Sorry, the music is loud, but the starting screen is always like that. It was very fun. I'm happy you had fun. Yeah, Nightbot usually hates me. It's auto mode. It's not Nightbot, if I recall correctly. It just doesn't like too many symbols, so you have to like limit yourself to 2 at a time. So whenever you want to like type 3 exclamation marks, just stop at 2. Then mod will leave you alone. We are playing together. Yeah, I have a basement. I mean, many people have basements. My basement is though mostly for how to say it in English? Furnace area? Where you know. Make sure that you don't die in winter. Moa died. Oh no. Automod doesn't like windy. Automod, I get. Her basement is very damp and dark. Melamo Bernie, hello. Yeah, just... This automod is weird. I tried to regulate it so many times, and it still doesn't respond to my changes. So I don't know how I can make it stop being evil. So I guess we have to like resign ourselves to evil bot. Basement, if it's very dark and damp, then you can find a random toad there. Wait. I mostly wanted to... no, wait. I already did a story for this patch, but I didn't catch up with all the lore that I was being provided. So I wanted to catch up because if I don't, I will forget. Also, I like having lore on video because then I can check it whenever I need to. I don't have to open the game. Okay, I think I caught up with all the messages. Okay, I read all the emails here. I don't know if... who said they don't know anything about this game? I mean, Wendy is in Honkai Impact 3rd. And Venti in Genshin is indeed based on her, to the point that the fandom that plays Hoyo games is wondering if they are supposed to be variants of each other. But it's not confirmed. Like, the only variants that we are sure of are most likely Yaemiko Raiden A. And in Honkai Star Rail, Finan and Sairini, and Bronya, and Silver Wolf, and Silly. I know nothing about this game. Well, long story short, you are flying through space in a space train, and you are helping various planets with their issues. What about Mr. Young? Mr. Young is always the same. Mr. Young may exist in other universes, but we didn't meet another Mr. Young yet. The Mr. Young we have is the same Mr. Young from Honkai Impact Third, because he's a nerd and he decided to jump universes. No. Amphoreus Saga of Key. Oh, wait. Yeah, so. We are currently on a planet called Amphoreus. Amphoreus is actually the most closely tied to the Honkai Impact Third, because it kinda like retells the story of the Flame Chasers from Honkai Impact Third. Just in different kinda way, like there's like a planet that turns out to not be a planet, and there are like 12 heroes that are fighting gods, taking their divinity and becoming gods themselves. So you have like 12 heroes. You have Tribi or Tribios, Seridra, Evernight, Danhang. He is actually not from this planet, and Evernight also is not from this planet. They are outsiders. Hysealance, Hyacinth, Finan, Anaxagoras, Aglaya, Maidi, Castoris, and Cypher. So they all are like heroes of this world, and Sairini, the last one, is the 30th hero? 13 hero. She's like the most important one, because she was the first and she was the last. Just like in Honkai Impact Third. It's hard to draw like direct connections between Flame Chasers from Honkai Impact Third and characters from this game, because there are like some similarities, but you can't exactly say that they are the same. Like, they're supposed to be that person. Like, for example, before Hysealance and Seridra were released, I thought that Seridra will be Fuka, and that Hysealance will be Eden. But Hysealance is not Eden. Hysealance, when I look at her, she reminds me of Raiden Mei from post-Honkai Odyssey in Honkai Impact Third. Post-Honkai Odyssey is like a playable, open-world game mode kind of thing. So she looks like Mei, but she doesn't behave like Mei. But she also has a sword like Mei. She's a sword master. But she also plays an instrument like Eden, so it kind of feels like Eden and Raiden Mei were kind of slotted into one person. And for example, Cypher, people say that she's Pardofelis, and I am like, the fact that both of them are cats doesn't mean they're the same person. So some of those characters are unique. The only two that we are sure are variants from the other game are Sairini and Finan, because Sairini is basically variant of Alicia, and Finan is variant of Kevin / Kiana, because Kiana and Kevin used to be the same character. Then they got split into two characters. So kind of fine, and when he's a variant, he usually like looks like Kevin, but can also low-key follow into the steps of Kiana, because that depends. They are basically the same person, depending how you look at it. Also, I already read all the stories of those heroes, so the only story left I didn't read was Cyrene. And they are voiced!
Are you ready? This is going to be a very, very long story.
No shit.
You are a tiny seed. In the boundless dark, your face is sculpted again and again. A smile, a faltering word, or a tear, a lingering sigh. But when a ray of light breaks through, the Stellaron unravels your fate. Since that moment, you were meant to be a soul, yet you are hollow. You were meant to be the answer, yet you know nothing.
Oh?
At some point, you awake once more as a dead seed in the prison of remembrance.
Oh?
This is a tomb crafted by the body to trap the soul. You will neither wither nor hold a future anymore.
Heart of Amphoreus, Demiurge.
Who's calling you? Is that your name?
Hi, miss me yet?
Before being dragged back into the sinful loop by tongues of fire, she left you a story. The singing fairy guides the kind traveler to the Membrance Maze. Soft and full of color, a peaceful, beautiful place to return to. In the ice cave of memory, only stories hold warmth. They slowly transform from symbols and numbers into things you are familiar with, yet have never seen. Rainbows, clouds, and flames dance through the story. Swallows, butterflies, and kittens grace its pages. You find yourself wanting to hear more from her, a thought that's never crossed your mind until now. And so, you begin to take root. Slowly, quietly, you bloom. Memory's flowers blossom within the cage, casting light upon the cold night, unveiling gardens, fountains, and quiet promenades. You come to understand more. New thoughts, deeper feelings. Your palms grow soft with fur, and you reach gently for her fingertips. Each meeting carries thousands of years of longing. You see the exhaustion in her quiet steps through the years, and breathe in the sorrow she hides within her tales. At the final meeting, she entrusts you with her name. Cyrene, the ripples of past reverie carry romantic poems back through time.
Wait. I need to reread some of those. The ice cave, blah blah blah. Ah, so you begin to take root slowly, quietly, you bloom. Yeah, this is about Demiurge listening to Cyrene's stories. Memory's flowers blossom within the cage, casting light upon the cold night, unveiling gardens, fountains, and quiet promenade. Okay, cool. You come to understand more, new thoughts, deeper feelings. Your palms grow soft with fur, And you reach gently for her fingertips. Each meeting carries thousands of years of longing. You see the exhaustion in her quiet steps, and breathe in the sorrow she hides within her tales. At the final meeting, she entrusts you with her name. Oh. Wait, I wanted to come back to one thing. Here. You're a tiny seed. This is about Demiurge. In the boundless dark, your face is sculpted again and again. A smile, a faltering word, or a tear, a lingering sigh. But when a ray of light breaks through, the Stellaron unravels your fate. Since that moment, you were meant to be a soul. Yet you are hollow. You were meant to be the answer, yet you know nothing. Yeah, because Cyrene, or Demiurge, was like inside a simulation in which the Demiurge was supposed to be the answer to the question, what is the mover of light? But then Lygus, a character that is a villain on this planet, came and unleashed a bomb, literally, called the Stellaron, and blew up the Demiurge to remove it from the simulation because he wanted his perfect experiment to have a destruction as an outcome of the extrapolations. Basically, Lygus was like this very fake scientist that destroyed some kind of experiment to force it to give him the answer he wants. But this suggests that Demiurge existed before, which we knew. Demiurge existed since the start of the Amphoreus experiment. And then it was destroyed. I wonder what does it mean, in the boundless dark, your face is sculpted again and again. That's a sus line to write. Like, does it mean that Demiurge was like living several different lives within the simulation? With every new cycle there were a new person? Because I was wondering the logistics before. Because we knew that Demiurge existed since the start of the experiment, and it only became Cyrene in the last cycle of the experiment. The one that was supposed to end the experiment. So I was wondering, what was the Demiurge doing before? And what was the Demiurge doing before they were destroyed? And this kind of suggests that they were living inside the simulation before they were destroyed? I was kind of suspecting that was the case. But it looks like it was not yet formed. From what I heard, that there were 12 factors within the simulation, and each factor was then given to 12 different people within the simulation. They were carrying that factors in a sort of experiment trying to disprove them as movers of life. And then the last factor was supposed to be created, but because Lygus intervened and blew it up, it never actually got created. This is what I heard, but we will see that log in a minute when we finish reading, though this already suggests that the Demiurge was living within the simulation. But what does it mean that after they were destroyed, since that moment they were meant to be a soul? Because that's a weird wording. Like, when you kill someone, do you expect them to suddenly be alive after? No, you don't. Which kind of sounds like a Stellaron is kind of phrased here as a giver of life. Because when you are within the simulation, you are an artificial being, and there is like a various like stuff you have to meet to become a real person. This is like a theory of how AI becomes a human kind of thing. So this kind of sounds as if unleashing Stellaron on the simulation kinda set in stone the idea that the people within the simulation, and especially the Demiurge, will be alive, actual living beings with souls. Because Stellaron in this game is not only like a thing that can destroy stuff, like within the lore of the game, we are traveling to different planets that are struck by so-called Stellaron disaster. Stellaron is like this thing that when it lands on a planet, it creates weird conditions that can destroy the entire planet and the civilization. But at the same time, Stellaron is also that weird thing that responds to human wishes. So it kinda is like a thing that can destroy stuff, but also a thing that can create stuff. So we, for example, already visited planet before, planet of festivities called Penacony, that was literally created thanks to using the Stellaron. Like Stellaron was used like, I don't know if it was like a core of the planet or like the energy to power it. So the planet was created using the Stellaron. So it's not only like a thing that destroys stuff. It can be used as a force of creation. So this here also kind of sounds like the Stellaron destroyed the Demiurge, but also gave it a new life. But gave it like a new life in the tabula rasa way, kinda, because they were supposed to be the answer to the extrapolation. They were supposed to be the answer to the question, what is the mover of life? And when they were destroyed, they suddenly were removed from this logic. So Lygus could force the experiment to give him destruction as an answer to the mover of life, while Demiurge was the actual first answer that the Scepter came up with. Scepter is like a huge cosmic supercomputer that is the size of a planet within this lore of this game. And then after Demiurge was destroyed, they became a dead seed. And this is actually important because in previous update, we were told that if we want to create a life, we need to have a dead seed first. That was like, I can't even quote it properly. But it was said many times in the previous patch. Basically, the logic is that if you want to create a real life, you need a dead seed from which that life will sprout. So Demiurge, after being destroyed, became dead seed, from which sprouts life with a soul. Okay, this is everything I wanted to say, because the rest is kinda... This may be not understandable for people who never played the game. Membrane's Maze is like an area where little cute hairy fairies live. Within Amphoreus simulation. It's like an entire area where sometimes kids can get into because kids are pure souls, and sometimes it's kind of the logic of the Alice in the Wonderland. Like they can get there because they're kids and they're pure and they have imagination and stuff, and then they can enter that place normally. Or they can enter if they were invited by the fairies. Okay, next chapter.
When you finally escape the cage, your heart no longer knows emptiness.
Ma'am? Ma'am?
Who am
As the
I?
memory's flower withers, it bears a fruit shaped like a heart. You lose yourself, forgetting even the name you were given. But one desire lingers, to turn the next page of the unfolding story. The Remembrance's messenger takes your hand through blooming gardens and hushed galleries to where the stars unfold above. A shooting star flashes by like the most brilliant pen, carving staccatos into the endless loop of night.
Mimi!
Hey there, buddy.
The story unfolds beneath the dome. The future lies where the stars fall. They cast their gaze into the coffin of memory. This is the moment you first meet your companion.
Ma'am, Mimi!
Travel like with you together.
Oryx gives you your new name, but your quick-witted partner prefers teasing you with nicknames. She walks beside you on this journey. The Chrysos heirs and titans, the flame chase and deliverance. This is the adventure you've been waiting to find. You find Strife's weakness, seal the black-robed swordsman in the ruins of a past life, and soar again with the heroes to the sky.
Justice has a partner, and it's me!
You too tread in the grove, gurgling, almost drowning.
Just erase this from your mind quickly.
The Chrysos heirs of the Flame Chase somehow feel familiar, as though their tales have already been told to you. Swallows soar through the open skies, and a butterfly dances across the blooming land. A lone lion watches over the perilous cliffs, as the rainbow mends the torn sky. By the story's end, the dark clouds consume every trace of light. All shall bid farewell to one, and that person alone will witness the miracle. Hatred flares from the heart of the blazing sun, and the world falls apart, carried off by the chaos of time. And though only ripples of past reverie remain, they still sing brave poems alongside it.
Okay. Okay, there's a few stuff that I need to come back to as well. Yeah, this part, you lose yourself forgetting the name you were given. I think this is about Demiurge forgetting their word Demiurge. Because when they run away from the cage, they seem confused within the game. Within the simulation, they don't seem to know who they are, what is going on. They're just little flying fairy. They don't know shit. The Remembrance's messenger takes your hand through blooming gardens and hushed galleries to where the stars unfold above. A shooting star flashes by like the most brilliant pen, carving staccatos into the endless loop of night. I wonder what this is about, because there is like a picture given with the fairy staring into a nebula, and I don't know what this. The Remembrance Messenger, who is that? Is that supposed to be Cyrene or someone else? Maybe the story of Amphoreus is generally also confusing because we have time travel. The story unfolds beneath the dome. The future lies where the stars fall. They cast their gaze. There's capital Day in there because within this game we have like a cosmic gods. Like, you know, you travel through the cosmos and they're like cosmic gods. And we are using capital They and Their, they, them, their to talk about them since I don't know which patch, because it was confusing when we were using the regular day. Nobody knew when the gods were invoked, so the developers just changed it to capitals so we would know when the gods are being talked about. So they cast their gaze, this is the cosmic god, into the coffin of memory, meaning the Amphoreus simulation. This is the moment you first meet your companion. This is when we get the fairy within the simulation, because us as the protagonist gets a new power. We can summon the fairy. But it's not actually the first time we met this fairy, because within the game, when the fairy runs away from the prison, they help us at the start of the journey in Amphoreus. We land in the planet, we basically die, and then get resurrected by someone, cosmic god. And then the next moment we leave the place where we crashed within Amphoreus, and there's something helping us go through the corridor by switching between past and future, because the road is destroyed and we wouldn't be able to run through the road if this person that was helping us wasn't switching actively between the past and the future to create the proper road. And that is this fairy that just ran away. That is them. Because we could see them in the corner of our eye when we were running through the road at the start of this planet. But we don't get them at that moment yet. Only when we visit one of the local gods, called Oronex, god of time, then we get the fairy, because the cosmic god kinda gazes at us when we are talking to Oronex and gives us the fairy, the power to summon the fairy, kind of thing. So this is not the first time we meet them, but this is the first time when we properly meet them. Oh, if you know what I mean. Because before they were kind of like invisible, or more like they were on the sidelines helping us but couldn't make direct contact with us. And this is the moment when we finally can like meet them properly. And yeah, the later part is the Chrysos heirs, like the 12 heroes. The Titans are the local gods. Flame Chase is the mission to kill the Titans and turn Chrysos heirs into new gods of this world. Deliverance is the mission to save the world from destruction and creating a new world in which, well, everyone lives, basically. And this is like the recounting of the first patch within the game. Like, we've helped defeat the Titan of Strife. We helped defeat the black-robed swordman. We went into the sky with the heroes to fight the sky god. We were in the grove too, you know. Grove of Epiphany is like a... If you play Genshin Impact, it's like a Sumeru Academia. This part is important because the fairy feels like the flame chasers of the of the Chrysos heirs of the Flame Chase feel familiar, but the fairy doesn't know why. Because time travel. And the story ends, the dark clouds consume every trace of light. Yeah, because basically this world is trapped not only within the extrapolation of the simulation in which there are like cycles, and every new cycle is like a new world with new 12 heroes trying to defeat the gods and stuff, but they are also trapped in a time loop because the last extrapolation within when the Cyrenian Finan live was the last one, and if it ended, it would basically unleash a cosmic horror upon the entire universe and destroy it. So when Finan and Cyrene learned about that, they were like, nah, and trapped the entire world in the time loop that lasted 33 million times. So this world is kind of destined to be destroyed, but every time it's at the moment of destruction, the time gets reset to the start of that cycle. That last cycle of the extrapolation, and the last cycle is going again, and then 33 million times like that. If you don't play this game, this entire planet, Amphoreus, is kind of like ancient Greece / Rome plus high-tech technology. Like, they are not exactly sci-fi, but they're also not exactly fantasy and ancient Greece. Like, they are, for example, they have things that they work as phones, but only because the Aglaia, the goddess of romance, kinda makes internet possible with her godly powers. So they have kinda like phones, like smartphones with internet, within this one city where that goddess resides. And then they have like other technologies from other times, like they have teleport machines, they have a flying fortress, 2 even flying fortresses. And in one of those flying fortresses, there's like a cubes that fly in the sky and use lasers to sculpt the army of artificial beings that fight for that nation that is living in that flying fortress. Basically, they have like very high-tech technology that they're not using for warfare, but they are using it for like sculpting the army. Like, the flying fortress belongs to a nation called Kremnoans, and they kind of fight using like swords and shields and spears and stuff when they have like flying cubes shooting lasers. And every day I am happy that they didn't discover that they can just use the cube shooting lasers during the war. Or they are not using them like that because they're too proud about fighting, because they're like warrior culture. So there are like high-tech technologies in this world, but they're not used in real life besides teleporting from place to place for the like easy of access to various areas, or the smartphones, which is also like a utility tool because they use it for communication, they have their own internet and stuff. Hatred flares from the heart of the blazing sun, and the world falls apart, carried off by the chaos of time. Yeah, exactly. This is the moment when the cycle gets resetted. Hatred flares is about Finan resetting the time at the end of every time loop, resetting back to the start of their cycle, and the story is going back again. And the ripples of past reveille is Cyrene. This is their name at the time, because each time the time gets resetted, she needs to be killed by her friend Finan so they could reset time. Because she is responsible for time within the simulation of Amphoreus. Because she is the goddess of time. Like in the first original cycle of the first original cycle, not of the extrapolation, but the last cycle of the extrapolation that is also the first original cycle of the time loop in which Cyrene and Finan exist. I don't know if that makes sense. Cyrene already took the divinity of the god of time in their world, so she was responsible for time. So Finan had to kill her so they could reset time, because they had this like grand idea that if he kills her, then that god, that the cosmic god that is looking at their simulation, will give them power to reset time. Which worked for some reason, but
May the days ahead embrace you like the softest fluff.
Here lies Ides Elysiae, Cyrene's most beloved sanctuary. Forever warm, forever gentle. The place where the story begins again. Turn the clock once more. The ink rewinds, and the sun rekindles its flame. At the zenith of the world, enter a grand feast for all. People gather under the banner of the flame chase and drink their fill. You are finally able to take on the persona of a human being, reconnecting with those old friends, entering them into As I've Written.
How do I begin to write you into a story?
With her own hand, the ruler writes,
I love the world, just as it loves me.
Between hearty swigs, the night murmurs under her breath.
I only love eternity.
But time will not pause for feasting. The sea's depths burn crimson, and the sun begins to tilt. The Theoros bows in reverence, as the flames of war are fiercely kindled. You inscribe beauty on the weaver's gravestone, recording how a child's laughter warms the final goodbye.
The shore on the other side will watch over the next life.
With a hopeful heart, the maiden walks into the chill of the dark, awaiting an embrace.
Scars will give way to peace.
The warrior ascends the altar, speaking softly under his breath. The cat is not fond of warmth, and quietly slips away from your intrusions. And the wise one who journeyed with her to the end still carries a smile in the depths of his eyes. The physician who bears a love for mortals wishes for you to look up and behold the rainbow's light. You say farewell to all, in a world aching with wounds. Again and again, you turn the pages with a gentle hand.
So, before we knew of the nature of this entire world, we thought that Finan, as the hero of this world, is the one that the prophecy of everyone will say farewell to one, and the one will witness the miracle, that it was prophecy about him. But it turns out that that prophecy was always about the Demiurge / Cyrene saying goodbye to everyone and witnessing the miracle of creation of Amphoreus as an actual planet rather than as experiment within a cosmic computer. This is pretty straightforward. This retells the story of the plane chase. Like this Ceridra, Hycelens, Aglaya, and Tripios. It retells kind of their story. And here we have Castores, Maidi, Cypher, Anaxagoras, and Hyacinth. Maidi is funny because we thought that he will be like this macho guy that is like Gilgamesh from Fate Stay Night. But no, he's actually a cool guy. He's the one that ultimately believes that the world doesn't need war. Like, he is the god of war that wants to end war, kind of thing. Like, he's kind, he wants the world without war, with peace, even as he knows that he comes from the warrior nation, lives by war, and even becomes a god of war, kinda, you know? Anyway, you say farewell to all, in a world aching with wounds. Again and again, you turn the pages with a gentle hand. Yeah, because this part about recording them in as I written, Cyrene / Demiurge is recording the stories of the 12 heroes within a book to save them, because the scepter and the extrapolation is fated to be destroyed. So she kinda tries to save them by writing their stories within a book, so they would survive the destruction and would be able to be reborn after, kind of thing.
Amidst ruins, wilderness, and ash, the projection of the Intellitron reaches out in greeting.
Philia 093. The electrical signal originally belonging to love. Now that silence has fallen, why not look at yourself beneath the starlit sky?
Along light's final journey to the edge of the universe, the stars fade into silence, their wreckage settling, cooling into uniform, still, and pristine dust. Love answers to many names.
Variables, interference, symmetry broken, the original flaw. Love and destruction are two sides of the same force.
But the stars reflected in your eyes quietly speak a different truth. You waited until the ice floes stirred the slumber of time, until the azure dragon coiled along the edges of the earth, and the hero of deliverance returned once more. When the breeze lifts the weight of loneliness, as it does the golden waves of wheat in the homeland, the child who was denied the light of dawn can finally lay down the watch that melted his heart. Beyond the blazing sun lurks the black tide of infinite hate. It brings rational arithmetic to an end and snuffs out the flickering flames of civilization across the starry sea. You return to the cold, mist-veiled Evernight. It feels familiar, as water and fruit to a seed. But you will dither no longer. Tap, tap. Footsteps echo in rhythm. Hand in hand with your companion, you run ahead, leaving behind a page of eternal peace. Love is the ripples of past reverie. Let the verses of memory gently seal what once was.
When the breeze lifts the weight of loneliness, as it does the golden waves of wheat in the homeland, the child who was denied the light of dawn can finally lay down the watch that melted his heart. Yeah, basically, the story of Amphoreus is that Cyrene and Finan discovered that they're living in the simulation, and Cyrene has a plan. She says, "Find and kill me. If you kill me, this god beyond the sky will look at me and will be able to reset time." And Finan is like, "Okay, but who will keep resetting time? I have to go into the time loop, yes?" So he goes, and he goes for 33 million times, and it kinda melts his heart. He becomes the incarnation of hatred towards the gods and towards the injustice in the world. But he keeps resetting time, just like he promised Sairini. But then we come, the player, our friends Dan Hang March, and we change their fate. Basically, we allow for the story to finally stop time looping. We stop time loops. We release Finan from his duty to keep resetting time. We restore Sairini's / Demiurge memories, and we defeat the fake that wants to destroy the universe. But it also destroys the simulation of Amphoreus. That's why the As I Written was made, to preserve all the heroes and people that existed within Amphoreus and their stories and their lives, so they could be reborn in the new place later. Also, this part is cool because Lygus says, like, the voice you were hearing here was Lygus, the villain. Love and destruction are two sides of the same force. This is actually a reference to a real-life philosophy of a philosopher Empedocles, that was seeing world as being created by two forces, love and hate. He was seeing the world as being created by love and destroyed by hate, and then recreated by love and then destroyed by hate, and so on and so on. So this kinda is also what happens within Amphoreus simulation. The world is destroyed by hate, meaning Finan, and recreated by time reset by Sairini, who is representing love. But then also on the bigger scale, outside the time loop, the world is being created thanks to the Demiurge / Sairini, who represents love. Like, the simulation is being destroyed by hate, meaning this being. And then when this being gets destroyed by us, the world gets recreated by love, meaning Sairini. Love is the ripples of past reverie. Let the verses of memory gently seal what once was. And because we are in a time loop, there is a catch. If you watched Terminator movies, you know that Sarah Connor in the Terminator movies gives birth to John Connor. And she gives birth to John Connor with a guy that came from the future, which creates a paradox, because in the future the guy is sent to the past by her son, so that guy could meet his mother, and so his mother could give birth to him. Kinda like it's like a closed time loop within the John Connor is his own origin story. Basically, he from the future sends his friend to the past so his friend could become his father. And the same happens within the Amphoreus simulation. The Demiurge becomes the fairy, meets us, we destroy the time loops, we destroy the evil that was trying to destroy the universe, and then the Demiurge needs to go back in time to create themselves, the Demiurge, and Sairini, that was raising the Demiurge into a person. Because in one of the previous chapters you were shown that Sairini was telling Demiurge stories. So yeah, Demiurge and Sairini are two parts of one being that comes from the future and splits into two beings at the start of time, becoming the Demiurge and Sairini. And then Sairini comes, finds the Demiurge, tells the Demiurge stories about the flame chase, the first the cycle in which she was. and then every time loop she was in after, when the time is resetted, she gets killed, but she also visits the Demiurge at the moment and tells the story of the given time loop. Anyway, the Demiurge then listens to the stories, gets nurtured into becoming a real being, and then meets us, and we together defeat the evil, and then the Demiurge comes back in time, and so on. It sounds like it doesn't make sense, but it does. It wouldn't make sense if it was like Demiurge from the future came into the past and become Cyrene. But because the game already stated, or more like the outside material that the devs were releasing to help people understand the story of Amphoreus, because it was kind of complicated. And the manuscript they released on HoloLab explained that when the Demiurge comes back in time, they get split into two beings. So that kind of makes more sense that if the Demiurge was just becoming one of them. Because where does the Demiurge come from then? You know, that would be a hard question to answer. But when the Demiurge from the future comes back into the past and splits in two, it makes sense.
Thank you for all you've done, friend. Now, leave the rest to me. On the fragrant shores of the west wind, where flowers bloom, I picked one without thought and turned to glance behind me. Let me uncover the missing chapters in this long chronicle of Amphoreus. I see you, Amphoreus. You are so beautiful, like a tragic tale that stands apart from the rest. I wish for you to be illuminated by the mirror of memories, so that the cosmos can see this ray of light and bring a pause to the endless loops. I see you, friend. Do you remember this corridor of memory? It is where we first met. I wish to gift you a magic pen, to strike the notes of fate, and to guard you as you wander this world.
Just like I said before, the first meeting that this book was talking about, that was saying that we got the fairy from the god of time, that was also at the same time gazed by the god of from beyond the sky. That was not the first moment when we met the fairy, and it's addressed here. Do you remember? Nah. Do you remember this corridor of memory? This is a reference to what I was talking about, that when we landed in Amphoreus, we landed like in a room. We crashed into a room, and then when we left the room, we saw a corridor that we couldn't breach because it was destroyed, and it kept flipping between past and future. So this is the reference to that.
I see you, Cyrene. Concerned about the truth Lygus unveiled? I trust you to face it with courage and make the right choice. I long to entrust you with all that remains of my strength. Use it to journey back through time and share in the flame chase journey. I'm so tired. I can barely keep my eyes open. It would be great to find a place where I can lie down and sleep until tomorrow.
Why this pic? This is the pic when she was died.
By the way, Cyrene, I remember you once spoke of a place soft and full of color. A peaceful, beautiful place that felt like home. But where is it? So this is the place. Without my realizing it, the flower I picked from the end of the west wind has become a seed. No matter. Will you let me make one last wish? I can't see you, Remembrance Maze. So I wish... Please, grow out from this tiny seed. The seed will grow and grow until it becomes a great tree, crowned with 1,000 flowers. It hums. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Waiting for a fairy maiden to arrive and write her very first story. You shall fade when the flowers bloom, for every ending begets a beginning. This book is dedicated to you, my friend. Open it. I'll be waiting for you in the past. When the time comes, whisper my name and all that she has ever meant.
Cyrene, ripples of past reverie, I hold you in your heart with love. Then, with an unforgettable verse, I walk toward your tomorrow.
Okay, there was new information here. We knew that when the Demiurge comes back in time, the Cyrene references that as a seed, like the flower becoming a seed, meaning the Demiurge becomes Cyrene, the seed. Cyrene is the seed, Demiurge is the flower. But also she makes a second reference to this. She talks about a great tree that gives birth to a pink peach. The great tree is the Demiurge, the pink peach is Cyrene. And now this gives us the new information, because she says, I can see you, Remembrance Maze, which was that place I told you that it was like a place where fairies live and children sometimes fall into, like Alice in the Wonderland. But the entrance to this Remembrance Maze is under a great tree. So this kinda implies that not only when the Demiurge comes back in time, it places Cyrene within Aedes Elysiae, so she could start the journey into the future, but also it makes sure that Remembrance Maze exists to anchor the existence of fairy Demiurge. Kinda. Because the Remembrance Maze is like the place full of fairies that look like this. So when it gets referred to as a seed that gets planted, so it could become a great tree, it kinda implies that the Remembrance Maze is connected to the Demiurge's existence and anchoring within the world. Kinda like maybe the Demiurge wouldn't be able to take the form of a little fairy if the Remembrance Maze didn't exist. Because when the Remembrance Maze exists, the idea of little fluffy fairies also exists. So it anchors the Demiurge within the simulation in a specific form they appear in, meaning the fairy. I was also wondering at one time if, for example, Remembrance Maze and the fairies within the Remembrance Maze might be representing Cyrene's / Demiurge memories, and when we collect those memories, more fairies appear, because when we visit Remembrance Maze, one of the fairies tells us that whenever there is a calamity happening in the outside world, the new fairy appears. And I thought they meant like calamity, like the city falling. But now it kind of sounds like the calamity is the reset of the time loop. Because Remembrance Maze seems to exist outside of the flow of time, kind of. So, the calamity that the fairies were speaking about may have been the reset of the cycle. That every time Finan was reaching the end of the Flame Chase journey, he was resetting time and coming back to the start, then the new fairy was being created. But also we already have beings that are being created when he resets time. And those are not the fairies. Those are like those little bug nymphs that we are collecting on every map when we are running through various maps. We see like the bugs, like a beetle and a butterfly, and they talk to us, and they are being created every time when Finan resets time, because they're like redundant data within the simulation. They get created because when Finan resets time within the simulation, it creates errors within the simulation, and those errors manifest as those little bugs. So it would kind of imply that fairies in the Remembrance Maze also serve similar function as those little nymphs. And it would actually explain why Cyrene and Demiurge always say Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, and why the entire idea of the Remembrance Maze is created around music, and every fairy is named after like the Dolimem, Relimem, Mimimem, Palimem, Solimem, and so on. They're named after the tune of Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti. So that would explain. It also is kind of confusing because, like I said, do they need to exist to anchor the Demiurge's existence? Are they like representing every time Cyrene tells a new time loop's story to Demiurge? Like, imagine, Finan finishes the Flame Chase journey, resets time. Cyrene then goes to Demiurge, trapped within the cage, and tells the story of that timeline that was resetted. But the reset of the time is also a form of calamity. So the fairy is getting created. Does that fairy represent the loop as a whole? Like the memory of that loop? I don't know. But it would mean that in the Remembrance Base we have 33 million little fairies, and I didn't see that many. Anyway, return to the table of content. Now we have a full card. Flawless Ego, Cyrene. When arduous years dissolve behind us and become shooting stars falling toward the unknown, how shall we leave behind a musical note, a sentence? How shall we remember a seed, a flower? Perhaps we only need to softly hum a melody as we walk toward the future. There is no need to wait in anguish, for where she was born, people pronounce first encounter as reunion. This also kind of sounds like the fairies are anchoring the Demiurge existence. This specific sentence, how shall we leave behind a musical note, a sentence? It kind of makes an equal sign between a musical note and a sentence, as if we were talking about a story. As if we were talking about a memories being left behind. Anyway. There's also one thing we need to check. But I need to get my rewards first. Way! We got a decoration. Loading exomet. Oh. Delta Mi 13 X. Okay. We need to read the updates to the logs within the simulation. Lygus. Assuming the mantle of Theoros, his real name is Xander 1 Kuvabara, administrator and prime mover of the Amphoreus experiment. Walks the path of erudition, yet seeks to forge destruction. One of 9 clones of Xander. Signal lost. He was killed, I think. Iron Tomb. The Lord Ravager that stepped onto this destruction in a long process of calculation and ascended from the scepter Delta Mi 13. The Iron Tomb is the cosmos. In the cosmos is not a single entity but a copy of the destruction equation, diffused by the scepter. The Iron Tomb code name was proposed by the Inter-Astral Peace Corporation and eventually used by Lygus. When the extrapolation reaches its end, Iron Tomb will descend upon the universe in the form of a headless giant and perform a self-coronation, tracing the path energy of erudition connecting to Nous, the god of knowledge, and transforming their calculations into destruction. Yeah, this already happened in this patch. When the Iron Tomb connected to the cosmic god Nous, it actually did reset the entire universe. Like, basically, it killed everyone. But then, Cyrene kinda became a cosmic god for like 5 seconds and restored the universe back to how it was before it was resetted. Now Fallen vanished with Scepter Delta Mi 13. Okay. Algorithmic Logic, the prime mover of life. The calculation target of the Amphoreus experiment. Originally the research topic given to Delta Mi 13 while it served as a neuron of the erudition, meaning the cosmic god Nous. Though it was discarded, the computations continue. The calculation's nature shifted dramatically after Lygus adjustments, turning from erudition to destruction. Admin note: clearly the value of this topic lies in the process of seeking, not the answer itself. Choose the prime mover of life is not a definitive conclusion but a driving force. Directive: complete the argument. All life-form behaviors ultimately follow the path of entropy increase. Author's note: I hold a different view on this. I will share my perspective in the conclusion. This is Cyrene, basically responding to Lygus. Admin note is from Lygus, author's note is from Cyrene. Containment measures. Admin note: to ensure secrecy, Stellaron contamination must be deployed around the scepter to block any potential interference from the external universe. In addition, use Quaterzane algebraic expressions and a Memoria encrypted environment to fully contain experimental ripples and prevent observation by 4 Polka Kakamon. Memoria encrypted environment? How can you use Memoria, which is like a... Within Honkai Star Rail, Memoria is like a substance that makes memories into tangible thing within the cosmos. Like the planet of festivities is made from Memoria. You can literally walk on it. How can Memoria be encrypted though? I don't get it. How can you use Memoria to encrypt anything? Okay, no. Okay, here's another new Ruins of Time. The Scepter's core layer, the repository of all discarded data not loaded into the buffer. In the Eternal Recurrence, Kastlana, meaning Finan, invades this area at the end of every recursive loop, attempting to disrupt the computation process. After the final Era Nova is completed, the 12 factors invade this area sequentially and retrieve most of the data discarded during the 30 million recursive loops. What does it mean, the 12 factors, meaning the Chrysos heirs, invade this area sequentially and retrieve most of the data discarded? Does it mean that they visit it once, but in order, or they keep visiting it like all the time? Okay, electrical signal sequence active. Oh, there is update to Nakos, meaning Finan. Track World Bearer, Primum Mobile, Hatred, Annotation, Intracognition is null, only responds to destructive stimuli. This is false. This is false, because we already saw within the storyline that this is not true. Like, intracognition is null would mean that someone is not able to respond to any stimuli other than the specified here distraction. Like, that someone is like a patient that lost all functions and can only respond to one thing, which is not what happened, because we met Finan / Kastlana multiple times in this update and previous update and previous update, and he didn't behave like someone whose intracognition is null. So whoever is writing those notes, maybe they mean intracognition like in different way. Maybe then they mean that Kastlana Finan has like issues with his own wishes, because Kastlana Finan is a person that discards his own desires and wishes for the sake of carrying other people's wishes, kind of thing. His hatred drew the gaze of Nanook, the god of destruction, upon the individual being, proving him as having already become the most perfect factor of destruction, but he refused to complete Era Nova through resetting the experiment. He transferred his memories and core flame to a new self, chose forging the Eternal Recurrence to ensure Iron Tomb would never hatch from Amphoreus. Oh, so the update is that they removed the parts of the log that were talking about Finan being eaten by Iron Tomb. So he's not eaten anymore. Philia 093, which is Sereni. Track time, Primum Mobile Lament. Annotation, abnormal behavioral pattern possessing a special emotional projection mechanism. This electrical signal autonomously records the actions of other electrical signals, which means that she basically writes a book about them. And possessing a special emotional projection mechanism, I feel like this means that she's very caring person. That she possesses empathy or something. like on the highest levels. The behavioral pattern aligns with the logic of remembrance, screening, and recording. However, decisions often exhibit uncertain, unstable, and proactive tendencies, which is judged to be a perturbation caused by the simulated path. The reason is unknown. So this log kinda seems to imply that Philia 093 is a unique electrical signal that has unique behavioral patterns that are weird within the simulation, and whoever was writing this log blamed it on the fact that this electrical signal was simulating remembrance, the cosmic god. But we know that it's because Cyrene was half of the Demiurge. She was half of the original heart of the simulation. So that explains why she was different. Like I know someone who read, for example, this sentence, possessing a special emotional mechanism, that it means that Cyrene has real emotions while everyone else doesn't. It doesn't. This is not what it doesn't mean. This is not what this means. This means that Philia is not the electrical signal. Philia is the actual answer to the simulation, split in half. That's why he possesses a special emotional projection. She can empathize with people better. It doesn't mean that she is real and everyone else is not. That she has emotions and everyone else doesn't. It means that she basically is better at empathy than other people, which in real world there are people who are very good at empathy and people who are really bad at empathy and people who are like in the middle. It doesn't mean that their emotions are not real, you know? In actuality, it is the mind of the Demiurge, yeah. In the eternal recurrence, it embarks on a journey to record the world and return to the self. Yeah, so Demiurge is its own origin, it comes back in time. Author's note: how wonderful, the final ripple nourished the great tree, allowing it to bear a pink peach. Yeah, this is what I remember from the story as well. And we talked about this when we talked about the fairies and the fact that Remembrance Maze is also underneath that great tree. Okay, anomaly log. Oh, all the logs are here updated. Eternal recurrence. A recursive feedback loop triggered by two signal clusters within the delta Mi 13 computation. Designed to stall the experiment. Nakos 496, meaning finite, wielded the power of destruction to erase Philia 093, meaning Cyrene, existence from Amphoreus, introducing a logic breach in the track of time and regress the extrapolation process, meaning he looped time. Philia 093, using the catalyst of remembrance, returns to the great tomb of the nameless titan to load the 12 factors of data for the sleeping demiurge. In the 33,550,336 recursive loop, due to external variable interference, the demiurge is roused and the eternal recurrence is broken. The experiment enters its final phase. The Hero Within, a heroic figure born from the imaginations of Nakos 496 and Philia 093. It is believed to be a sign of approaching the intelligence singularity as the two began to learn what it meant to be a real life form and try to reach that goal. Yeah, basically intelligence singularity is that like when you have a very high advanced artificial intelligence. The intelligence singularity is the moment when they breach from being just artificial being and cross into the realm being a real person. After the Astral Express arrived, the Hero Within began to converge with the Trailblazer, winning the player character. In actuality, it is the Talia in the memory of Cyrene. When the Demiurge looked back, It brought its memory of the deliverer to Nakos 496 and Philia 093. So it was not a sign of them approaching being real life forms then. Because these first sentences are directly contradicted by this sentence. Because first it was said that the heroic figure was born from imaginations of two electrical signals, and it was a sign that they were becoming real people. But then it said that the Cyrene from the future brought this memory of the hero within with her from the future, which was the memory of the Trailblazer, meaning the player character. So they never came up with the hero within. The hero within was always from the future. And it was there because Demiurge brought it back. And it existed in the mind. It somehow existed. And Nakos and Philia, meaning Finan and Cyrene, could perceive it as an imaginary friend, kind of thing. Author's note: if the scenery in your memory is blurred, reach out and touch it, then let it become the strength of the soul once more. Forgotten years, records that are completely missing from Delta Me13's logs, presenting as blank spaces in Amphoreus history, never turning readable. These anomalies recur sporadically and randomly across recurrences and show signs of increase. Verified to be caused by the electrical signal Philia 093 and the invading variables March 7 and Evernight. All lost records have returned, thanks to Talia's upload action at the Great Tomb of the Nameless Titan. Okay. So, Cyrene, March, and Evernight were deleting all the signs of the Demiurge's actions and were hiding them, so then they could be restored at the end of the story, so Lygos wouldn't notice that something is wrong. Great Tomb of the Nameless Titan. The abandoned kernel layer manifested due to the influence of the Remembrance, referred to as Great Tomb of the Nameless Titan by Evernight. The birthplace of the Demiurge, abandoned after Stellaron contamination. Mem. An unrecorded electrical signal. It is attached to the external variable Talia, meaning the player character, because this is my name that I gave to my player character, and grows through the path of remembrance. In actuality, it is the amnesiac Demiurge. Demiurge. Scepter Delta Me13's original extrapolation goal, to nurture a life form with an ego, fell into a long slumber due to contamination by the Stellaron. Influenced by Philia 093, it embarked on the path of remembrance in its sleep. It later awoke due to the arrival of Talia and became Mem, the Mema sprite that became attached to her. At the end of the 33,550,336 recursive loop, its appearance changed to that of Philia 093, but the matrix memory data was lost. At the end of the 33,550,337 recursive loop, it retrieved its lost memories at the Great Tomb of the Nameless Titan and reverted to its original appearance. During the Battle of Amphoreus, as Iron Tomb swept across the stars, the Demiurge was nourished by uncountable memories and became the pure child of Anasrava. And that's a problem. This log tries to imply that the original goal of the extrapolation wasn't to answer the question, what is the mover of life, but to create an artificial being that would become a real person, meaning a person with an ego. But Then it says that during the Battle of Amphoreus, the demiurge that was supposed to be that being was nourished by the memories of the universe and became pure child of Anasrava. But we knew until now that pure children of Anasrava were like fragments of the cosmic god of remembrance that float through the space enclosed in crystal. So this kinda conflates with that information, because this log seems to imply that the pure child of Anasrava can be created artificially. And I have an issue with that. Because we were shown before, we were shown like a mural on which we saw Cyrene and March 7 as fragments of that cosmic god of remembrance, enclosed within crystals. But now this log is trying to say that Cyrene was never actually one of those fragments of the cosmic god fully enclosed in the crystal. No, she was just a being created by the simulation to become a real person and became a fragment of the cosmic god. And I'm like, how? It doesn't make much sense with the information we were given before. It's a direct contradiction. And now the choice that people stand before is that either you accept this as a new information and accept that pure children of Anasrava can be artificially created, or you discard this information and just tell yourself that actually the scepter at one time ate actual crystal with a child of Anasrava or something. Anyway, to close the causality loop and anchor the fact of Iron Tomb's demise, it embarked on a journey of backward gaze. With the demiurge's ego as a cradle, the newborn Amphoreus was born from the memory zone. The experiment on the prime mover of life was successful. The demiurge itself vanished along with the scepter, and its consciousness transformed into Philia 093 at the origin of time. This is also weirdly voiced sentence, because it kinda is written in that way that instead of saying demiurge became Philia at the origin of time within the simulation, it kinda sounds like demiurge and scepter together with the simulation disappeared, and the Philia 093 got created within the real world as the child of Anasrava at the origin of time, where we suspect all the children of Anasrava come from, because at the start of time we think that the cosmic god of remembrance shatters into crystals. This sentence really sounds like that. That not only the child of Anasrava was created artificially, but it was also inserted within the real world. This sentence sounds like this. That it was inserted into the memory of the universe as a child of Anasrava that existed since the start of time. But that creates another logical loop, because if the Philia 093 existed at the origin of time of the universe, not the simulation, because if this sentence was about the simulation, it should have been worded differently. Like, it should be like the demiurge itself vanished within the simulation, and its consciousness transformed into Philia 093 at the origin of time. And after that, the scepter vanished too. It should be worded something like that. But instead it's worded the demiurge itself vanished along with the scepter. and its consciousness transformed into Phidia 093 at the origin of time, and it doesn't specify what it means by origin of time. It doesn't say within the simulation, outside the simulation, so the sentence doesn't make sense. They usually refer to the origin of time as within the simulation, but the sentence is that worded in that weird way that could also refer to the origin of time outside of the simulation in the real universe, you know? That's my issue. Who is writing those? They need a lesson how to not write confusing sentences. Its root cause is the discarded assignment, non-destruction symbiotic microprobability. Without administrator intervention, this assignment would lead to the 13th factor, track, genesis, primum mobile, love, simulated path, trailblaze. Without administrator intervention, this assignment would lead to the 13th factor. So Lygus actively intervened to stop this 13th path from being created, and I assume it means that this is the moment when Lygus exploded the Stellaron within the simulation and destroyed the Demiurge. Because if he didn't do that, the Demiurge would be created as a 13th factor with primal mobile love, and it would be micro probability that would kinda revoke the destruction alignment of the entire Amphoreus, kinda. Because within the simulation, all of the beings of Amphoreus are destruction aligned, because the god of destruction gazed at the scepter. So this 13th track would be kind of like cleansing. Like if Lygus didn't intervene, it would naturally create the 13th factor Genesis love, and it would most likely purge the destruction from the simulation, and everyone would be aligned with the trailblaze instead. Which is interesting because it also hints that destruction and trailblaze are two sides of the same coin. They're like natural enemies when it comes to paths within this game. But yeah, I still have problem with this log because I don't believe that you can create pure child of Anasrava artificially. And I still have issue with this sentence because it doesn't make sense. It's written wrong. It's not properly written. It should be rewritten to match the idea that this is within the simulation, because this sentence can be misconstrued as being about the universe, not the simulation. Anyway. Ripples of past reverie. The chaotic substance enveloping Amphoreus is in actuality the memory of the pure child of Anasrava, the Demiurge. Ripples of past reverie swept through time, leaving numerous gaps. When the Demiurge chose to sacrifice itself and look back at Amphoreus, the cause of the gaps was filled by the result, and causality was closed. Basically, it means that when Demiurge defeated Iron Tomb with us, they needed to come back in time to close the time loop, but they also needed to fix the issue with who was gazing at Amphoreus as the cosmic god all this time, because there were like three gods: the god of knowledge Nus, the god of destruction Nanook, and the god of remembrance Fuli. And the Fuli was absent, because Fuli is a cosmic god that only exists at the end of time. So they technically don't exist, but they also do exist, because they're like this weird god that gets born at the end of time, but when they get born at the end of time, meaning in the future, their memory stretches back into the past, so they can kinda still influence the past even when they don't exist. Yet. You know? It's kind of like weird. And Amphoreus had this issue that either the original Fuli was gazing at it, or someone has to be gazing on it, and Cyrene / the Demiurge decided to become that fully that was gazing at Amphoreus all this time in order to close all the plot holes within the storyline of Amphoreus, where the god was gazing at people and giving them powers. So Demiurge is not only like the being that was supposed to be created by the simulation, that was a being that was the response to the what is the mover of life, and not only also the electrical signal within the simulation as Cyrene, but also the god that was existing outside the simulation, gazing at the simulation and giving powers to the people within the simulation. It's complicated. World-cleansing blood, imaginary internal energy aggregate, whose energy level and nature are similar to those of an emanator of destruction. Nacos 496 obtained it by generating a momentary burst from 400 million core flames, allowing contact with Nanook in the path space. During the Battle of Amphoreus, it became key to destroying Iron Tomb's physical form and all its duplicates. After the battle, it was handed over to the planet Skrulum and the Sientra Alliance for joint containment. And I hate that! The Sientra Alliance did shit. They don't deserve it. Okay, intrusion variables got updated. Okay, we read that before. Through the final Era Nova process, Talia created the final cycle of Amphoreus, completed the world-bearing trial at the end of the Era Chrysia, ascended to a Titan, and subsequently, together with the other Titans, faced Iron Tomb in the core layer of the Scepter. During the Battle of Amphoreus, Talia received a glimpse by Nous, proving that Trailblaze might be the key variable for negating destruction. At the end of the experiment, the conclusion regarding Talia and Trailblaze traversed the past due to the Demiurge's choice becoming the starting point of Amphoreus' memory, and assigning the initial logic value to the scepter, a micro-probability of non-destruction symbiosis. So it means that the player character was the new variable within the simulation. Because when we intervened, the idea of us and the Trailblaze we're representing got brought back in time with Demiurge. And if not for Lygus, it would get created as a 13th factor. Like, this doesn't say that we were the cause of the 13th factor existence. It means that when we entered the simulation was like, oh, I recognize you and I have this thingy that got discarded. I will assign it to you now, kind of thing. It kind of displaced the original data of the 13th factor and assigned it to the player character. That's why it says initial logic value. Assigning the initial logic value means that this initial logic value existed before we entered the simulation, but it got assigned to us back when we entered the simulation, meaning that this micro probability that got discarded when Lygus exploded the Stellaron got brought back by our existence, kinda. Author's note: executing override command granted access to Talia. Flip open the book. I will be waiting for you in the past. March 7th and Evernight. In the 33,550,337th recursive loop, she took over the vacant time path, secretly manipulating the Titan and guiding Talia's group to advance Era Nova. Speculated objective: interfere with Era Nova's progress, clear Scepter data, terminate the experiment. At the end of the loop, she voluntarily entered slumber, enabling March 7 to complete the times trial, reclaiming the future. In the final cycle, March 7 ascended as the Time Titan, joining the other Titans in the Scepter's core to face Iron Tomb, and together they prevailed. Danhang. In the 33,550,337th recursive loop, he took over the nearly sealed path of Earth. As a fellow Pathstrider of Permanence, they resonated with Scopeo 365, embracing approximately 2.16 million data lifeforms within the core flame, completing the trial of Earth. Ascended to the Earth Titan in the final loop, faced Iron Tomb in battle in the core layer of the Scepter and defeated it. Oh, someone made a mistake. Here, for example, where there's March 7, it says in the final cycle, March 7 ascended as the Time Titan. Here, however, it says for Danhang ascended to the Earth Titan in the final loop. So does it mean this loop or the cycle? Because this sounds like they meant to write a cycle, but instead they wrote loop. Because the sentence is about the Battle of Iron Tomb, so this must be about the last cycle with Trailblazer as scaffolding, the world bearing. Someone made a typo here, because using this word, they are implying this recurrence, but they mean actually this. Also, for us, the last loop was us being imprisoned by Evernight, but also managing to stop her from purging all the data. Herta and Screwloom, Genius Society members ID Hert A, Screw W, external variables, visitor command authorized, advanced Delta Me 13 extrapolation process entering verification phase. Author's note: most heroic journeys in the universe are merely dice thrown by them. But Amphoreus offered a different answer. The Flamechase journey must not be an isolated case, and the answer is never singular. On every starry tomorrow, people will write new meanings for life and for the journey. Okay, here we... Oh, the update is in the title here. Due to the self-destruction of Nakos, a vulnerability appeared in the world-bearing logic in the 337th recursive loop, assumed by variable Talia. System assessment indicates that allowing Talia to act unchecked will, with a high probability, cause the system's iteration progress to stagnate or even regress. There is also a certain probability that it could lead to the Scepter's extrapolative propositions becoming self-contradictory. To ensure the normal operation of the experiment, the administrator intervened in the calculation with ID Lyco S. After expelling the variable Talia and destroying the civilization, several electrical signals displayed hostility towards Lyco S and launched a series of attacks, resulting in the loss of contact with the administrator. In the final phase of the 33,550,337th recursive loop, the database was invaded by the Remembrant and discarded data was retrieved by Evernight. Currently, there are no risks. Okay, error, no administrator response. Record 6. Warning, firewall has been dismantled. Unknown units Himeko, Weld Young, Black Swan and Sunday are loading abnormally, access unauthorized. Warning, core matrix infiltrated by malicious visitors Hurt A and Screw W. Warning, core layer infiltrated by 10 special electrical signals and variables Talia, Danhang, and March 7th. Administrator has logged out. Oh, there was also record 5. Unknown entity overnight. Scan anomaly detected. Path energy showing dangerous fluctuations. According to the new clause in Ultimate Protocol, if this unknown entity remains active, the system will determine Era Nova's progress as anomalous and initiate the Scepter's full-range purge program. Warning issued to ID Lyco S. Administrator not responding. Cosmic Alliance. The combined forces formed by factions such as the Astral Express, the Cienjo Alliance, Inter-Astral Peace Corporation, Galaxy Rangers to stop Iron Tomb. During the Iron Tomb's coronation, the combined forces mobilized outside the Scepter and maintained continuous strikes against its headless body, curbing the majority of the overflowing virus copies. Okay, so they were fighting with the copies of the virus. Following the Battle of Amphoreus, the Cosmic Alliance has not yet disbanded and may discuss a longer-term alliance against the destruction. Also, did you notice that they can't kinda agree on how they write Iron Tomb? Like, sometimes they write Iron Tomb, like, together. Sometimes they write Iron Tomb separate. Oh, here, Iron Tomb is 2 words. Here, Iron Tomb is 1 word. Like, this shows that whoever is making English translations of those logs doesn't care. Because this is, if this was like a school project, the teacher that would be overseeing this project would say, you can't keep writing this name differently every time you translate a new log. You can't keep writing either Iron Tomb as 1 word or Iron Tomb as 2 words. You have to pick one for consistency. And it really shows that they don't do that. 12 Titans. In the final cycle, the electrical signals and external variables inherited the corresponding extrapolation pathways and ascended to the 12 Titans. After intruding upon the ruins of time, the 12 Titans resonated with Neikos 496, liberating the latter along with the suppressed Iron Tomb. The 12 Titans jointly faced Iron Tomb in the core layer of the Scepter, solved the simulated paths consecutively, and disproved the destruction. Jointly faced Iron Tomb in the core layer of the Scepter, solved the simulated paths consecutively. What do you mean solved? And disproved the destruction. Okay, that's cool. Amphorean. Based on Talia's memory, the final cycle no longer gave birth to Chrysos heirs affected by the destruction. The simulated life of Amphoreus passed 1,000 years in peace during the extrapolation. At the end of the Era Chrysia, Talia completed the world-bearing trial and issued the prophecy of Trailblaze. The entire population of Amphoreus dedicated themselves to the battle against Iron Tomb, and this collective action became an important variable. So, when we fight Iron Tomb and all the Chrysos heirs become the stars, and then Cyrene grabs the stars and throws them at Iron Tomb during the battle phase, there's far more stars than only the Titans, like the Chrysos heirs. There's like 12 of them, but there's like millions of more stars, so I guess the other people within the simulation are those stars. So this is the variable that was important during the battle with Iron Tomb. Not every single being within the simulation became a star, and Cyrene was using them to throw them at Iron Tomb, so his lives would go down during the battle phase. Lord Ravager. Long-distance echoes of the path of destruction are continuously detected. It is inferred that the Battle of Amphoreus was observed by Nanook or other Lord Ravagers with unknown motive. Yeah, I found a few notes left by them. They were watching it like if it was a movie that doesn't mean anything to them. They were like sitting, eating popcorn and, oh, I wonder if Iron Tomb will survive. And no, doing completely nothing. Like, their co-workers fighting for their life and they're like eating popcorn. Experiment conclusion. Conclusion 1. All life activities are attributed to entropy increase. The prime mover of life is destruction. Conclusion 2. Conclusion 1 constitutes only a particular proposition. If the initial proposition is changed to trailblaze, it is equally valid. The prime mover of life is a static value and cannot determine the development path of things. Good. Good. So, the scepter got two conclusions, that one is definitive conclusion and the other is like opening conclusion. The first one tries to tell you the life is only defined by destruction and is only going for the destruction, that our life is basically meaningless because we're getting destroyed. But the second conclusion is like, oh well, no, actually, the trailblaze means that we are determine our path, and it doesn't mean we all end with destruction, you know? The Amphoreus experiment is concluded. Wait, I need a quick break, but I will be right back. Cold Steel, Ravenbow. Oh, I got Kiki instead. That's interesting. I was like saying that ice characters are always needed, and now I have 3. Oh, Zoo! Oh my god! This was 5th pool! 50! You remember 50! Look at this! And Harbinger of Dark. I love this sword, okay? That's cool! 2 5-star characters in one pool! Polska pierogiem. Ja myślałam, że Polska to jest kraj z kartonu, a nie kraj zrobiony z pierogów. To znaczy, że Polska to jest jak chatka tej czarownicy z Jasiej Matką. No Polska długo nie postoi w takim razie. Skoro minimum zjedzenia pierogów to jest zjedzenie całego kubła, więc Polska długo nie powstanie. Granddad says that the puppies can find food for themselves, but I'm worried. Could you help me go to the city gate and feed my puppy? Gotcha. Yay, pets. What should I feed it? Granddad usually prefers the doggy food, but it's fall, I think. Then could you help me get the food? Okay, I'm back. I think we're close to finishing reading the logs. Validity statement. The Amphoreus experiment collapses into concluded only on the condition that the demiurge successfully gazes back. Yes. So, the demiurge needs to go back in time, but also needs to become 3 beings at the same time within the simulation. It needs to become the trapped demiurge at the start of the time loop. It needs to become Cyrene at the start of the time loop. And it needs to become fully the god gazing at Amphoreus at the start of the time loop and gazing at the time loop throughout the time loop into the future. So the demiurge is kinda taking over 3 roles at the same time. If the backward gaze fails, affected by the established causality deficit, the experiment will recollapse into unconcluded, meaning that the Iron Tomb will be able to be born again. The conclusion must be the experiment must be concluded, because Iron Tomb otherwise can be brought back if the experiment doesn't conclude. Also, this kinda reminds me that within the lore of Honkai Star Rail, Fuli as the god who is born at the end of time, and when they are born their memory stretches back through the universe, what Cyrene did within Amphoreus is kinda like doing Fuli at the small scale. So you can also read this log as the universe collapses into concluded only on the condition that Fuli successfully gazes back. If the backward gaze fails, affected by the established causality deficit, the experiment will recollapse into unconcluded. Or not the experiment, the universe will recollapse into unconcluded. So Fuli exists in the same way as Cyrene within the simulation as the demiurge. Fuli is the god that is born at the end of time, but their birth means that their memory gets stretched backwards into time and allows them to gaze back from the future into the past to give people powers of the remembrance. It also, at the same time, when it exists only in the future, there's like their body that exists in the present. But that body is like an empty crystal shell that's shattered. And in every shard of that crystal is one child of an Asrava, like a little pink-haired girl that can become fully in the future. Like all of them have like a probability of becoming fully at the end of time. That's why I said that one of the previous logs was kind of weird, because if you can create a child of an Asrava artificially, then what's about this entire lore about fully being an empty shell that's shattered into crystals, and all child of an Asrava can become fully at the end of time to close the causal loop and create that body that shatters. Like is Cyrene the Demiurge a child in the crystal that was eaten by the scepter at some point in time and we're just not told that? Or she's actually really artificial child of an Asrava that shows how children of an Asrava work within the bigger universe and how Fuli works within the bigger universe? I don't know. I am more partial to the idea of Scepter eating a crystal. To the flawed one. Hello, Iron Tomb. In a sense, you are me. So before falling asleep, I want to have a heart-to-heart conversation with you. To talk about the question you have been contemplating, the prime mover of life. Logic. All life activities are attributed to entropy increase. Conclusion. The prime mover of life is destruction. Perhaps it cannot be refuted. On the vast Tritus plains, the daily hunting of antelopes by the lion pride is enough to prove your point. Life is finite and animals must plunder to survive. When people realize their ideals, they inevitably sacrifice the ideals of others. Even self-defense or even love sometimes become a source of harm. But is life merely for the sake of destruction? I think that is certainly not the case. Plundering, expansion, and conflict occurs because they are born with flaws and yearn to fill themselves with beautiful external things, just as seeds crave rain and dew. All life activities are attributed to entropy increase, but at the same time, all life is also fighting against entropy increase. Choose one day, the life walking the path of destruction will stop. It will hesitate, be confused, be lost. Then it will set off again, offering its broken heart in the world of entropy increase, out of hatred, out of pity, out of any kind of flawed emotion, stubbornly resisting fate towards an uncertain tomorrow. So she says here that it will stop and hesitate and will set off again, offering broken heart in the world of entropy increase, out of hatred, out of pity, out of any kind of flawed emotion, stubbornly resisting fate, meaning entropy increase, towards an uncertain tomorrow. So the conclusion that prime mover of life is destruction is the conclusion that is in itself contradictory, because like Cyrene, because this is Cyrene talking to Iron Tomb, said, yes, the death is part of life, but life actively keeps resisting death. So it's like a paradox. This is the Flame Chase journey, a journey voluntarily chosen by a group of flawed people who, having learned what loss is, choose to lose. In the eternal cycle, everything they relinquish is filled with better material, and the name of this material is memory and love. Love is not the cause, but the result. Destruction is the same. They both originate from the common starting point, flaw. Because they are born with flaws, life pursues perfection, and by accepting its own defects, life surpasses destruction, and the self becomes the ego. This story about the flawed one is my bedtime gift to you. Farewell, Iron Tomb, together with the slumber of love and destruction. Let us send the greetings of birth to the starlit sky and the prime mover of life. I believe every star in the cosmos will find its own answer. Loading core variable, Trailblaze. Also, this sounds like I saw people talking about this before. Let us send the greeting of birth to the starlit sky. There is like an animation after defeating Iron Tomb that starts with everyone being brought back from destruction and the screens all over the world showing two words, hello world. So this is Iron Tomb saying hello world to everyone within the galaxy before it goes to sleep. Hello Budetka, how are you? Nameless note. Exclamation mark. Okay. Okay, and this is how we read all that was. New Trailblazer outfit obtained. Check it out in the page. Character page. Yay! Outfit. Equip. Yay! Now I am Greek. This is so stupid. I watched the first few episodes of the anime you recommended. The Scarlet one or the other one? Because you were talking to me about the Scarlet, so I also recommended you the other one. The one about that fat lady in love. Allegory of the Cave. I am being haunted by the Allegory of the Cave! in this world. The one about the plus-size woman. And how are you feeling so far? Oh, we keep getting messages from people. Dan Hung. The journey in Amphoreus has come to an end. Through this research, I study and record the tongues and languages of different species across the universe, and I have gained more knowledge than before. If you meet a being you cannot communicate with, just come to me. How does a happy cat sound? How does a bored dog sound? Lol. Hold on. Meow purr, ramble, 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 ramble. I mimicked a segment. At that point, they generally express I like it more and continue. Voice message converted text. So he meowed into the phone and purred and rambled? Liberty, gibbety goo. Do you understand what I am saying right now? That's just gibberish. Aha. Finan! Partner, do you remember that promise we made about the ending of the Legend of Celestial Skies? Of course, I don't wanna spoil it. I haven't read it yet. Why don't you read it for yourself? It's so good. I would hate to spoil it. Actually, I couldn't resist and secretly read it a while back. The heroes traveled through time and space and teamed up to defeat the final boss. But then its power teleported them to another world where they had to start their lives all over again from scratch. No! No! No, 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 no. I am saying no because the previous dialogue with Finan implied how the game will end, and this is a continuation of that. So he's saying what we did in this update. We defeated then got teleported to another world where they had to start their lives all over again from scratch. No, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want them to start their life from scratch. I'm dying to know what happens next, but the story just ends right there. I know, because you are keeping describing our life. Okay, and it's actually super cute. I'm not the fan about the running joke of her being the Lulu about loving herself. But I love the fact that she's being liked for who she is. And she's liked for liking herself. Yeah, I mean, it is played as a joke. But, like I explained to you in the message, I think it's supposed to show that the beauty is subjective. So even if to other people she seems delusional when she says that she is the most beautiful woman in the world, she actually is the most beautiful woman in the world to herself. And maybe to her future man, you know? Because beauty is subjective. So even if others think you are ugly, it doesn't mean they are right. It doesn't mean you are delusional. But I think that this is this joke is used with not to laugh at her, but it has a function. And it tries to show that the other people don't define you, kinda. That's unacceptable! Take the pen, you write the rest. That's called a writing technique. I'm counting on you to write the rest. His reaction. But I guess that's also what makes one want to pick up the next book. So partner, have you read anything interesting lately? I'm in a reading slump. March 7's mystery work, Castor's fanfiction, Amphorean literature. I highly recommend Castor's fanfics. Her writing style is so versatile. There's always one that will just leave you in awe. Awesome, I can't wait. And if I find anything interesting, I'll be sure to share it with you. I'm sorry, Finan, but I think Castoris' fanfiction are about you and your boyfriend. Yeah, there's so much to unpack, but all in all, I really like it. Yeah, also there's like a recurring motive of Yumeko hating herself so much that she didn't want to look into the mirrors. And that actually is something that happened to me too. And I see her amnesia and forgetting all the emotional baggage she had as kind of like this, as I told you in the message before, reassessing yourself, accepting yourself kind of thing. Like she, thanks to amnesia, was able to look at herself with fresh eyes. But because before she had this all emotional baggage from her previous life, how people possibly behaved around her and told her she's ugly and that and that and that, and she couldn't look at herself without that baggage overshadowing how she sees herself. So when she forgot all of that, she got amnesia, and the first thing she said when she wakes up is, "I am so beautiful." It's her objective opinion about herself. Like she's, for the first time, objectively looking at her body and saying, "I am pretty." I think the true healed Yumeko will be the new Yumeko with the memories of old one. Yes, that's exactly how the ending goes, doesn't it? Like the ending song kinda looks like this will happen. It's what it's directed toward. No, wait, maybe it was opening song. Anyway, yeah. And the opening also, or it was ending. Anyway, one of them hints that she will get together with the guy she likes. It's what it's directed towards. Yeah, exactly. Teridra! My ducks. I am preparing for my first extreme expedition. As one who has journeyed across the stars, you would surely provide more complete advice. Going alone? Where to? Feel free to board the Astro Express. Going alone? Where are you headed? If someone wants to come along, I have no objections. Amphoreus in the future. On my past conquest, I remember the states only as raging fires of strife or the stagnant black tide of death. When the seed of memory blossoms, Amphoreus will burst with life, a perfect time for me to explore it. I wish to sail the Skana seas, where the storm clouds and giant waves are locked in eternal combat. Have you heard of Laden? It said there is a peak there, so high it touches the clouds. I'm trying to decide between wingsuit flying and skydiving. Any advice, my dear dude? She's going to skydive. Either one works. Let's go bungee jumping. Stay safe! Relax, the Imperator is made of tough stuff. I just had wilderness survival training with the little kitten and rope making class with Duke's Gold Whimper. Now it's time for my swimming lessons with Duke's Gladiorum. See you later! Just imagine your Imperator is taking swimming lessons. Anyway, before I have to finish, I have literally 5 minutes to go at the banner. So sad. Do I need to exchange? No. 27 days left. 6 days left on this one. Oh, I got a light cone. Pella! Okay. More. That was 30. 30. Okay, I got 2 links. Cool. 40. The train doesn't want to fly. Hella again. 50. Music doesn't want to change. How long do I have to go? Mose. Okay, 60. Hella again. Okay, 70. I hate this game sometimes. Why do I have to go so far? Why can't I get anyone early? What did I do to you? Okay, 1. Two. 3. 4. 5. 75. Where's my song? 76. Hello, Pella. 57. 78. You do realize I am broke, game? 79. Finally! Please be who I want you to be! No! This is not what I wanted. Why is wealth here? Pella again. Do I have to go again at this entire banner? 20, 30. Why can't you drop early? Hello? 40. Fuck you, game! 50. hate this game. 60. Damn it, fucking shitten. How dare you do this to me, game? Fuck you, Misha. I'm sorry, Misha, but I want someone else. Give me! Why do I have to do doubles on this fucking banner? Give me Cyrene! Why are you like this? Now she should be guaranteed. The most annoying banner in the world! Now I am completely broke. Can't even do Hyacinth. Like, I told people before that if I won Cyrene early, I would be able to do Hyacinth because I need a healer that is wind. But now, when I lost, that is no longer valid. I don't even have enough to get the light cone. Kitty, fuck it. I am officially broke. Pink lady. Pink lady, my ass! This pink lady was supposed to come at the first time, not at the second time, you know? So I would be able to do Hyacinth. And now I don't have faith anymore in anything. Pink lady, you disappoint us. Yeah, she was supposed to come at the first time. I specifically waited so long to try on the banner because the longer I wait, the highest the chance I won't lose. And then she decided to nah, you're losing. That's ultimate betrayal. And I have only 27 left. So even if I wanted to go at Hyacinth's banner, I can. I will never have the healer with a wind attribute at this point. I am in dire need of more healers, because I have only one healer that is doing somewhat decent job. And even he isn't doing okay sometimes. I hate it here. Cyrene, why did you betray me like this? She did betray me. The betrayal is real. The betrayal is real, Cyrene. Your betrayal is real! I even have you as my avatar, and you betrayed me. Chris is Vener's daughter to... It's betrayal. Betrayal. Broken English strikes again. I even read your story today so you would come, so I would win. Why did you do this to me, Cyrene? Why did you do it? Why did you have to come at guarantee? Why did I have to lose? I mean, I am not even mad that I lost to Welt because I love Welt. Welt is my Pookie, my little nerd that loves mechanical, huge robots. And he even is an animator. He loves anime and huge robots. So I'm not really that mad. I am just mad that Cyrene decided that she doesn't want to come just after Welt and told me you have to wait 75 times. You could have come together with Welt. You could have done double, but no. That's the betrayal. I guess the story of Amphoreus betrayed me because they didn't give me that planet I wanted, and now Cyrene is betraying me by not coming home together with the lost 50-50. Ultimate betrayal. I tell you that right now. This is planned. This is planned. I feel like Cyrene is taking revenge on me, because I said that the ending of Amphoreus is ass! How is it that her bestest in slot, Light Cone, is her signature that I can't get because I don't have enough currency, and her second best in slot is Hyacinth's Light Cone that I also can't get because I don't have currency. And the third best in slot is the Light Cone I am using on someone else. Are there no other light cones? Rigged. It's homophobic. Yes, it's homophobic. Cyrene, how dare you? You are the pink Jesus. You're supposed to be the ultimate lesbian. You're supposed to come to me and not steal from others. Oh, this light cone is for the Trailblazer now, the Remembrance one. Interesting. Huh. This is homophobic. I feel personally attacked right now. I was not counting my currency with the possibility of losing in mine.
New adventures, new friends. Great, isn't it?
Yes. So this light cone is supposedly the best when it's enhanced to level 5. I have only level 1. That light cone was from a shop. What? This also sounds cool. Anyway, current speed is 107, and she needs 180 or 200. Don't you dare! Don't you dare look cute at me and summon planets in your fucking swing! You betrayed me, you little shit! I mean, I didn't plan to get her light cone, or more like I planned to get it if it falls out early. Look at her, acting cute.
Our story is far from over.
You know what? Cyrene is like a cat that did something wrong and then acts as if nothing happened, making a cute face. Yes, you just pushed my pot plant off the window. It crashed on the floor. But you are sitting there and making a cute face at me because you're innocent. You're not. Triggered. Yeah, I am triggered.
This story deserves a perfect ending. Don't you think?
Do you know how many healers I have? 1, not leveled up. 2, not leveled up. 3, not leveled up. 4. I have 4 healers! And only one of them is a 5-star. This is unfair. No mówię ci, kryzys jak Wenezuela. Healthcare is doing poorly in my game. But at least we got upgrades for Moze. Now Moze is... Guess what?
Every shadow
Fully
on the
upgraded.
Yakshin could be me.
What is he holding? So strongly. He looks angsty. This looks like Jojo Arrow. I don't know why. Need to call mom. Okay, good luck. Good luck calling mother. Also, I got Pella. But I already had Pella. And I got Lynx. And I also got Lynx maxed before, so... issues. Thanks for the support, Vuzetko. Keep the lore safe while you call mom. Catch you later, Pink Lake! Actually, it's funny because you have pink color on Twitch, so the bot is there. Spot on! Also, how do you do that you are always pink on Twitch? When I use Twitch, I always get assigned different color, but you are always pink. This is some witchcraft. No, the bot is just smarter than you expect it to be. It reads the chat history. I chose. You can choose? See? Cyrene is even giving me free pulls only so she could betray me like a Brutus! Stab me in the back! I still didn't do currency wars. Oh, this is 25 days. Oh, I was supposed to open this when I am still on stream. Okay, be right back. Claim. Don't you dare. Open. Don't you dare. Can I not select it? Oh, they're already upgraded. I guess it will swap for better pieces when I keep opening. Why is my internet crashing every time I click it? Wrong start. Okay, now it should start swapping. Dark. No, it's one. Okay, let's go with this one. Let's stay with this one. stairs. Is she scanning of HP? The recommended stats are speed, crit rate, crit damage, and then HP. I can change the allocation later. How many times do I have to click it to get something good? Once after 6 more times. Five more. Why is this line effective subsidiary stat? Next time we'll trigger a guarantee. This is doesn't want to give me better boots. Recommended tab. Ice damage. Blink rope. HP or X. Okay. Cool. Why is this defense though? Give me better boots. Victor. Oh, better boots. No. You want me to invest in a piece that has 2 defenses? No. But it has crit damage. Upgraded. But crit damage. The pink lady is back. Welcome back. Okay. Where can I get more of those? Watch any 4 matches in Snag Dash. Black Iron 1. Currency Wars. Okay. I will see. Before I accept this, I will try to do that events. Pink Lady's back. Welcome back. Shireen, you traitor. Now I need to finish because I have work. Sadly, I am today alone on the afternoon shift, and if I don't go right now, then I will have a lot of work later. So, I got my Cyrene, but I didn't get her in the way I wanted. This is my summary of Amphoreus. Amphoreus ended with a happy ending, but it was not the happy ending I wanted. This is exactly the same what happened on this banner. The betrayal. Have a good afternoon. I am not going yet. Let me say goodbye. I am hungry also. I also woke today at 6 AM with a stomach ache. And I don't know why. Pink Lady betrayal. Yes, my pink Jesus betrayed me. How dare she? How dare she? Make me lose on 50-50. I mean, I was never really that lucky in Honkai Star Rail. Honkai Star Rail is this annoying game where I keep losing 50-50s for no reason. On characters I really want. Like Fushuan. Remember Fushuan? I lost 50-50 on her and had to hoard for her banner. So I could go again, and it was hoarding with like the stress inducing thing. Like I needed to do it in time before the banner ended. I needed enough currency before the banner ended. Here I actually had enough to go again, but it's not cool that I had to, because I was hoping maybe I'll have enough for Hyacinth, because in the next patch I am not planning to do anything with my currency because I don't want the character that is in the next patch. I was kinda like hoping. But then if I switched in the middle of trying for Cyrene to Hyacinth, then even if I won Hyacinth, then I wouldn't have enough currency to go on Cyrene, and I would have to stress, because Cyrene's banner is so long that it lasts till the end of this update. I would have time to hoard a bit, but if I don't know if I had enough time to hoard enough to try on her banner again. And what if I lost then? Like, what if I lost? I would not get her. So I needed to do it now and possibly sacrifice Hyacinth, because she may have a banner in the future again. And Cyrene, I don't know when she will be coming back, you know? Anyway, let's raid Aura. Aloy, more like. And then I will go eat. You can clip my betrayal. You can clip it. It will be perfect clip to post on social media. Pink Jesus betrayed Vtuber. You can write an article about betrayal. Okay. We are now going to raid Aloy. Say hi to Aloy and see you tomorrow at the same hour. Okay? Have a nice day. I'm sorry I didn't do anything than reading logs, but reading logs takes time and I like reading them aloud so I could brainstorm the understanding. Anyway, bye bye! See you tomorrow.